welcome back. It's Mrs. Peterson, that lady who teaches art, and today I'm going to show you how to draw a simple landscape in one-point perspective. So we're going to start with a line that is straight across our paper. It's going to be closer to the top than the bottom, and I'm ensuring that my ruler is straight across by lining up the edge of my paper, and then this line will be really flat. Okay, so there is my line up there. All right, next we are going to put in our vanishing point. Our vanishing point is going to be off to the side here, but on the line. So draw a point. It's kind of close to the edge of my paper, but it's off to the side. From there, we are going to draw the edge of our road. The edge of my road is I'm gonna come to right here. So there's a little bit. I'm not to the edge of my paper. I'll show you what I mean. So when you're lining that up, make sure that you've left some space there, but it's also not in the middle of my paper. And then the other edge of this road is going to come almost straight down, like that. Okay, there's the edge of our road. Now we're going to put in the dash marks that go across the middle of that road. So we need to find about the middle of the road, and I'm going to guess it's about right there. I just did the little simple hand trick where I bring them together, and where they come together, then that is the middle. And I'm not going to draw a straight line right to that. I'm going to draw on either side of where I think the middle is, because those dashes are going to have some thickness to them. So I'm going to draw one line a little to the right, or excuse me, the left of that line, and now I'm going to come back and draw one line a little to the right of that line, but still lining up with my vanishing point. Okay, now we're going to turn that into our dashes. So the first one, we're just going to put our ruler straight across and line it up with the edge of your paper here, and that's what a lot of students would do wrong. Line that up there, and I'm going to scooch a little closer, I guess, because it would look pretty skinny if I started too far. I'm going to draw flat across, okay? And then I'm going to go a little ways back and draw flat across again. And then this in here is going to get erased. And it doesn't matter if you don't get it erased very well, because in the end you're going to end up shading this road better. And then you're going to see, like, okay, if I drew it right here, that would look pretty short and fat. If I drew the back of the line way back here, that would look way too long and skinny. So you need to kind of like think before you draw about where does that dash look accurate. And they're going to get closer together as you go back. So if I had this much space, I need to make sure I don't have the same amount of space back here, because it's going to get closer and closer together. And I'm just going to go every other one, erasing the part that is not the dash, and then leaving the part that is the outline of the dash. Making sure my ruler is lined up every time. And eventually you can't even see them anymore. So let's see, this part's going to get erased. That one's going to stay. All right, so there is the outline of our road with the dashes. All right, next we're going to draw 3 trees in a row. So I'm going to start at my vanishing point. I'm going to put a line that is maybe about to the corner of my paper, for the bottom of the trunk, where the trunk will meet the bottom of the tree. And that line can be lighter when you draw it, because you're going to end up erasing it. It's just a guideline. Then I'm going to draw a line that splits about where my vanishing point is to my corner in half, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but about. If it needs to be a little higher, I would err on the side of I'd get closer to my horizon line and not as close to the bottom. Okay, so in between these two lines is going to be the trunk of your tree. Now I'm going to take another guideline from my vanishing point, and I'm going to not quite go to the corner of the top corner of my paper, something like that. Okay, so now I have my horizon line, which is not part of the trees, and then I have these 3 lines. I'm going to draw 3 lines straight up and down in between those lines, those 3 lines that I just made. So I'm lining up my ruler really nice and straight with the top of my paper, and I'm going to go just straight down in between those lines I just made. There's one. Scooch back. Make another one. Scooch back. And this one's going to be closer. It's not going to be as far apart as these two. So if I were to put it exactly the same distance apart, it would look too far apart. So take this distance and go smaller than that and make sure your line is very straight up and down. Okay, those 3 lines are going to become our guidelines for our trees. So from the line that was about in the middle of this paper, that's going to be the bottom of the like top of the tree. This is going to be kind of like a cypress tree. Round on the bottom and a little pointed on the top. And then you can just kind of give it a texture. This doesn't have to be perfect. I kind of like scribbly textures. But it should be even on both sides of the line, the up and down line that you created. So it looks like I need to give it a little more over here. Okay, same thing on the next one back. This bottom is going to be rounded. It's going to come up to this point, and it needs to be not as thick as that first one, because if it is as thick, it'll look way fatter. And then you can give it that scribbly texture. This one is not going to have as dark of darks or light of lights because it is getting closer to the vanishing point. So if this one has some really dark lines in it, you're not going to want to put as many dark lines in the second one. Okay, and then the last one, same thing, round on the bottom all the way down to that guideline. And give it a nice texture. Okay, now we need to make the trunks, and a lot of students would do the trunks incorrectly. They would have the bottom be very slanted, possibly along this line, and that is not the case. The bottom is going to be perpendicular to the side of your paper. So if you lined up a straight edge, it would go even on both sides of the line and be really flat across. So do you see my little line I made right there? See it? All right, now same thing here. Straight across. Not as long as my first one, and then the same thing here. Just a little line straight across. Okay. Those are going to be your guidelines for the bottom of your trees. I'm just going to show you, zoom in and show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to go down, get it just a little bit thicker at the bottom, just like trees do, and then just curve out gently at the bottom like trees do. Okay, same thing here. It's not going to be as thick as the first one, but it's going to go straight down a little bit on each side of that line that we made, and it's going to curve out for the bottom. Same thing here, straight down, going to be skinnier than all the others and curve out for the bottom. All right, and we can get rid of our guidelines. Now that we know where our trees go, we're going to leave our horizon line, the straight across line, we still are not done with that one. We can get rid of these lines that guide us for where the bottom of the leaves were, or the pine needles, I guess these would have. Okay, so there are our trees. Let's do something easy. That was a little tricky, so now let's go and do something that's way easier. Along our horizon line, a lot of students just want to leave it straight across, and that's actually really not very realistic. So you can just kind of make it have a little curve, some little hills. You can go right through those trees, and then we're just going to shade that in pretty light. And I'm just going to actually go right over my tree since I'm shading so lightly. It's really not going to affect my trees. Okay. Up in the sky, I would like you to put a circle for a sun. I'm going to draw my outline rather dark so you can see it, but you probably need to leave yours very, very light as you can. Just a little sun there. Okay, and try to make it as round as you can. All right, you guys, that is part 1 of how to create a landscape. Join me for part 2 where we finish this 1-point perspective landscape up. I can't wait to see what you create.